Peace. It's your boy Dub. Shout out to my man's De Niro. Boy, you know I salivate at conversations like these. I enjoy it. And what you posted today was amazing, beautiful, well worded, highly needed. So for me not to respond is me not giving you the props you deserve. I'm gonna get right into it, man. We're gonna start with what's hot music wise that you and I know is not hot. That 100% of the people know that's not hot. But it's catchy, it's current, and it's easy to repeat. That's why your kids sing it. They the man. Little did you know. You say that 10 times in the song, 100 times in the song. If you don't remember it, then you're not using one of your instincts, so to say. But they not hot. 2 Chainz is not hot. He say stuff that people can identify with in our culture. Not even our race, but our culture. You don't know the difference? Then you shouldn't even be watching this video. Alright? Culture is a group of ethnicities placed together. They just do the same stuff, prefer the same likings. I listen to Gucci. I listen to 2 Chainz. I don't really listen to Trinidad James, but it's on the radio. You riding to work, it's a Monday mix. Not finna click off of it just because that song is on. The beats and on these songs is what's better than anything else, but the producers don't even get paid that much. You know what I'm saying? No different than these scripted reality TV shows. It's not reality, it's scripted. It's edited to show and portray people in the negative light more than the positive light. Why? Because everybody has negative going on in their life. Therefore, you want to see people that's considered to be famous to have the same flaws as us. Kind of draws the light off of us. Right? Right. And we always need something to talk about. Next month is Black History Month. We haven't had a movie like Django since Roots. So you think they're not going to talk about it? Quentin Tarantino is an amazing person. This is the dude who bought you Jackie Brown. Alright? He just did the Nazi movie not too long ago either with Brad Pitt. Nobody really talk about that. They don't want to talk about stuff like that. But he bought us From Dusk Till Dawn. This is Mr. Kill Bill himself, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Man with the iron fist. He working with Jizza right now. So he played chess, obviously. Him making a move like this before Black History Month is to raise controversy and suspicion. Why is it such a big thing? Why they got Samuel Jackson and Jamie Foxx in these shows trying to explain why movies like this is relevant. Yeah, they said nigga a million times, but isn't it relevant? Isn't it still racism going on? Absolutely. So now he's going to get a lot of people to go and watch his movie. Samuel and Jamie is going to be worth a 6 and 7 digit price tag to do films. Granted, Samuel Jackson don't turn down the role, and Jamie Foxx didn't. That man is solidified. He done came a long way from In Living Color being Wanda, belittling and degrading himself to receiving prestige awards that was only for white actors and actresses and stuff like that. It's only been 4 black people to ever win those awards. So they feel it was something positive at the right time. When you got, like I say, Quentin Tarantino behind that, and everybody else that's in that, Leonardo DiCaprio, that movie is going to come out regardless, and it is what it is. And it's just a marketing ploy from that point on. But moving on, what else we got out there? The word nigga itself. Me growing up, as well as, 99.9% of most black people, we done heard niggas since birth, to the point that it's no different than ice cream, going outside, mom, dad, love, life. It's a word that can mean something major and something minor, something positive and something negative. Like, I'm gonna shoot that nigga, or, ooh, nigga, you just did something amazing, to whatever, nigga. And I love my niggas, right? Right. Bitch is the new nigga for females, not just black females, but black women in general. And that's a culture word. It's not a race word. It's a culture word. White women say it about black women, Chinese women, Mexican women say it to each other. It's a culture word. Even though it's a lot of different races, Spanish, blacks, even though we hang, I guess, closer to each other and they throw the word nigga back and forth, you don't never hear him saying, the word spick back and forth. I know what them words mean, but I'm not finna just go up to one of my Latino buddies and just throw it out there, but they be feeling like, shit, we didn't struggle the same, bro. You my nigga. No. You my essay, maybe. But, that's something like that, too. But, moving on. Whenever y'all get a chance, Google a man named Professor Griff. Used to be with Public Enemy. Alright? He talks about the way stuff was in the music industry about 25 years ago and why stuff is the way it is now. He touched on, Illuminati stuff. Everybody want to talk about that now like it's the in crowd, like it's the end thing to do. But he said a lot of truth about what's going on in the music industry. I highly recommend y'all look at that, man. It explains why a lot of stuff is the way it is now. And it's not our fault. We just being driven that way. But us as a culture and us as a generation, and when I say generation, I mean mid to late 70s babies, all of the 80 babies, and a little bit of the beginning of the 90s kids. But, I really don't be wanting to factor them in. They can go see the movie Transformers now, but they never seen the cartoon. They don't know who the Fraggle Rocks is. Stuff like that. And I mean, it boils down to us. What do we instill in our kids today? Our grandparents' generation is the ones that fought for the freedom. It was not finna be no more house niggas and yard niggas and yes master and no masters and my kids can't go to a grade school because you don't want my son to sit with your daughter for whatever reason. So they fought. We had the Kings and the X's and all the other great heroes. Those were the superheroes because they was willing to lead marches and stand in front of the people to put them in a better place. That trickled down into the communities. Black Panthers, a lot of these organizations that's gangs now did not start off as gangs. I'm from the Fort era. Jeff Ford. All right, 1964. When we say one, that's the year of the movement. 1964. Y'all don't know who Jeff Ford is. If I said Peace God or L. Rookins, Stones, Moes, it's not necessarily a gang. It's a gang now. Didn't start off as that. Those are the people who gave us after school programs, breakfast and lunch programs, places to take our kids where we worked, while they was trying to get more black women to work instead of, choosing to be in the crib. Those are the organizations in our communities that was there to better us, but they didn't want to see a revolutionary movement, so they instilled anarchy into that. They imposed the lynching law into that. Made these organizations turn on each other. Black people kill black people because they was never taught to kill anything else. And that's real talk right there. And moving forward, it starts with us. And we're a lot more diverse than we were back then. I hang out with all nationalities. My son is mixed. So I done been with different nationalities. And it's a lot different now. And before my grandparents had passed away, they used to tell me, like, that's not right. It's something going to backlash from you being that way. They just didn't know change. My pops, my moms, instill morals into me to love everybody. And then I do the same thing to my son. So it has to start with us. Yeah, it's easy to get up in the morning and click on Facebook and all the social media, world style hip hop, and seeing who getting their ass kicked. But pick up a book, talk to your kids, and it is what it is. It's going to get a lot worse before it get better. But if nobody's doing anything, then it's never going to get better. It's only going to get worse. I talk to my son about life every day. Even when I don't see him, I'm texting him, I'm calling him, just something positive, because there's so much negative around him. But he got him an amazing support group, from his moms to his stepdad to me, grandparents, aunts, you know, and it has to be like that in each and every one of you guys' household. The question is never why it is the way it is why do I let it be the way it is? So I just wanted to touch on everything you said, my brother. You know, peace. Just have these conversations more often. Like I say, you can take one of the 7, 8 things you talked about and have a drawn out discussion about it. And that's where it started. We got to use these avenues that we created, the social media, to our advantage. It shouldn't be a million likes for Gundam Style because we laughed at it first. Little did you know that put that man on the World Music Awards. Trinidad James, we laughed at that man because he looked like Jerome from Martin. But look at him now. And they rapping to people that they feel doing the same stuff that they doing. 2 Chainz and them, Dope Boy Music, you know, Plies. That man went to college, all right? He went to college and graduated in business and marketing. So he created a facade and an image that a lot of people liked and made millions off of it. His brother lived that life. His brother's locked up. 2 Chainz, a.k.a. Titty Boy, been rapping for about 20 years. So he got money from that, even when they signed with Luda. So he not necessarily trapping. He's living a lifestyle. Like De Niro, my man, said, how can you go from talking about being in the streets, but you living in $1 million houses, right? You leasing. They really not buying all their whips and stuff like that. They leasing that stuff, but they got the money to do it. So it's like, once you make it, rap about making it. You want to keep on moving forward. You don't want to keep the dope boys dope boying and pushing, because that's what your music is still talking about. Your first album reflects on what you did before you got that signing bonus, before you started generating them checks off your shows and your album sales, then that's fine, I guess. Because what you want to create is a legacy, a book that some people want to read. All right, you can't be Nino Brown and everybody. You want to be more like a Kaiser Sose. You know, you don't want them really to know who you are. And then at the end, I guess you want to be a superhero. You start off as the diamond in the rough, and then you make it to the top and you talk about that. I don't ever want to hear P. Diddy, 50, Jay-Z continue to talk about being a dope boy. You know, you got to talk about life now. You ain't sold dope since 88. Right? Alright. I had wrote some notes. I just really wanted to touch on everything you said, because we don't have conversations like this. You know, I used to sit down with my guys and them and talk about stuff like this all the time, and we just kind of get away from it. You know, but we'll get back on it. What else are you talking about? Guess that explains it, to be honest with you. Whenever you want to pick this conversation up again, you let me know. I'll get on the next video with you. You know, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Peace out. I appreciate everybody who looked at this. You know, shout out to my man De Niro, Detour, M2 Movement. My name is Aaron A-Dub Collins, a.k.a. A-Dub. Still with it on the mic. And peace.